long-distance runners who stumble but never cease. We are the foot soldiers who always battle the beast from the start. We know many parts of the whole, heart to heart we grow.
Nancy Pelosi tells us that the U.S. Congress will never cut off funds for American troops while they are in harm's way. What does this mean? The logic here is completely twisted.
Yeah. Thank you.
First, this statement might be defensible if American troops were defending themselves against an aggressor here in the United States. But the truth is that U.S. soldiers are the aggressor. Our troops have invaded Iraq. Congress, both parties of Congress, has approved billions of dollars for this war, for the American military to bomb cities, to kill civilians by the hundreds of thousands, to torture innocent people. This is aggression. The Iraqi people are the ones who are in harm's way. And when you attack people, and when you kill and torture them and their children, they will try to defend themselves, wouldn't you? U.S. soldiers are being shot at by people who are defending themselves from deliberate, sinister aggression. Therefore, protecting our troops is really quite simple. Get them out of harm's way. Get them out of Iraq immediately. Cut all funds for the war and bring the troops home now.
What do we want? Justice! Now! What do we want? Justice!
She can't hear you, so a little loud.
Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Hey, hey! Oh, no! The occupation got to go!
Introduce him.
The occupation got to go!
The lies, the cost in human lives, the threat to civil liberties, the increase in xenophobia all need a response of working people and their allies.
I'm a Kurdish Iraqi from the city of Kirkuk. As a Kurd, I knew what Saddam was doing, how they kicked us out of my city, but all that was done through the American policies and administration to make victims out of the Kurdish people and to use our suffering for invasion of further destruction of Middle East and other humanities. What has happened in Iraq is genocide. This is not a war. A war, two armies will fight each other. There have never been two armies. They're trying to say that's a glorious day for the Kurdish people. It's the biggest lie. The Kurds in Iraq are there. They have no choice. They have made the president of Iraq a Kurd, so they could blame everything on him, so the day when it's over, there's going to be a bloodshed. That's why they're using the Kurdish situation.
To realize that this is not just a war in Iraq, this is a war in Afghanistan. This is a proxy war that is taking place in the Horn of Africa for the purpose of taking the resources so that U.S. imperialism and the appetite of the military-industrial complex can be filled.
I'm here to tell you the story about my son. He went in really believing that he was doing his duty to his country in trying to preserve our freedoms. He said to me at one point, 9/11 happened and I will never be the same again. And that is the reason why people like Pat Tillman and many others left lucrative careers to join the military. This was in the belief that they were doing something to preserve our freedoms, our freedom against terrorism. But then my son, after doing the research, after finding the facts, realized that there were no weapons of mass destruction, and that we entered a war, a preemptive war on a lie, and that has to stop. For speaking out, he has been charged with crimes. One, because he did not obey the movement order to board the plane last June 2006. He is also being charged for speaking out, and these are his constitutional rights. But he's being charged for behavior unbecoming an officer and a gentleman. And together, these charges equal 6 years in a military prison. Compare that against the kinds of crimes that the Bush administration has committed. But they conveniently amended the War Crimes Act so that they can never be prosecuted. But you, the American people, have to hold their feet to the fire and make sure that they are held accountable for the crimes against humanity, the crimes against peace.
It would be a dereliction of my duty as an elected representative of our government if we did not join hands in San Francisco and challenge any other municipality or any other state in the United States to also not rise up and say that how dare you siphon billions of dollars to an illegal war abroad while we have unmet needs here at home.
The policies of United States is whenever you are our slaves, you are our friends. And when they abandon you, they said, like what Kissinger said to the Kurdish people, if they can't take a joke, F them, these Kurdish people. And those are the policies that are played on all the people who don't have the weapons, who don't have any support in the world. And they're using the staging ground of safe haven, so they call it, in Iraq and Kurdistan to invade Iran. As you guys know, a month ago, they went inside Erbil, the capital of Kurdistan, where there is an Iranian embassy legally made by the Kurdish people, by the Kurdish administration and Iranian government. After Bush's speech, the American army went in there, confiscated all the computers, and arrested 6 of the diplomats without even letting the Kurdish people know what they were doing. Why they can't do that in Belgium? They call Kurdish people an administration under their power a government. It's not really a government. It's just a puppet thing they have set up to destroy humanity.
And this just isn't about the Bush administration. It's about those who supported this unbelievable act that will go down in our history in this nation as one of the great crimes that occurred, but yet nobody was brought to justice for the criminal act itself. It is unfathomable that the Bush and Cheney have not been brought for impeachment hearings.
We're going to use all that income tax, helping the children grow. Pay for war no more. Now what? We ain't gonna pay for war no more. We ain't gonna pay for war no more. Ain't gonna pay for war no more. We ain't gonna pay for war no more. We ain't gonna pay for war no more. Ain't gonna pay for war no more.
People are dying every day. We have people homeless while they're spending money eating goddamn cocktails and shit. We come out every few months to do something, but this is not enough. You people think about, oh, well, the Democrats are coming in. The Democrats won't do shit, male or female, African American or not. It's time for you to stop playing around and come into these per-minute things. Fuck what the government says. Leave your job. Come to the streets and let's fight for revolution. What we need to do is a general strike of old. Leave your job. Leave school. Hit them where it hurts, their pockets, money. And when they try to give us a concession and come back, make some new law which they will find a loophole for to get through like they always do. These laws are meaningless. They're just elaborate words. We don't take that concession. We create a new government because this government was made corrupt and it's always been corrupt. There has never been a war that this government has fought for good. It's all for greed. Don't give me World War II because that was just to get more holdings and to get more power. They didn't care about the Jews. And they never have cared about anyone. This is about money.
U.S. out of the Middle East, no justice, no peace. U.S. out of the Middle East, no justice, no peace.
We cannot wait for the Democrats and Republicans to solve this problem. They are the ones who put us in this situation. How in the hell do we expect the Democrats to get us out of this? They've been in office and all they've done is just increase the minimum wage by a couple of dollars and lower the interest rates on college loans? Hell no. That's not going to get it. If we want to end the war in Iraq, it's a very simple way to do it. We need to have a general strike. If longshoremen, if teamsters, if airline pilots don't go to work, we shut the country down.
The anti-war movement must demand what is right, the complete, unconditional, and immediate withdrawal of all U.S. military forces, weapons, and bases from the Middle East. And that means stopping all U.S. support for Israel's aggression against the Palestinian people also. The real question is, why are the Democrats restricting themselves to symbolic anti-war resolutions while committing to fund the war? The answer is also simple. These Democrats voted with the Republicans for this war of aggression, for grabbing Iraqi oil. These Democrats represent the same corporations as Bush and the Republicans. So Pelosi and the Democrats don't want to take responsibility. So they're talking out of both sides of their mouths. They want us to buy the illogical nonsense that they are both against the war and for supporting the invading U.S. troops with funding.
They're privatizing every single place inside Iraq and Kurdistan. We had one single factory of cement in Kurdistan, it is sold. Everything is privatized. People have no jobs. My stepsister's son was massacred just in October by Saudi people. Saudi people are inside there. Bush's friends are inside there. They keep on blaming Iran doing this and that. And the Shia Sunni is just a garbage to divide up Iraq. Let's unite and stop these Congress people, especially the Democrats. They're hypocrites. They stood there, they were kissing Bush and holding hands during his speech. We need to get them out.
I, as an Iranian American, one of the few elected to office in the United States, know very well what you know in your guts, that this is a prelude to an attack on Iran itself. And everything that we are doing right now in Iraq is simply a continued inflammation as to how the Middle East will explode because of the imperialistic, and let's call it what it is, even if it seems like it's an outdated word, but that is exactly the tendency of where this government is going. And this is exactly what we need to stem this tide, because it's not just about us, and it's not just about Iraq, it's not just about Israel, it is about the peaceful coexistence of living a bright future. And if we allow this apocalyptic nature continue unabated, then we will have hell to pay and reversible trends that we will not know what to do. It is up to you, it is up to us to make sure that mainstream societies elsewhere in this country hear from us. We don't become apologetic. We don't let politicians off the hook, even if they're Democrats who's saying that they're now against war, or Republicans who are against the war. We remind them that their words have got to be translated into action. If they're not, vote them out of office.
Far out as you want to travel on legs, in the saddle, by car, or in the air, just remember, down here where privatizing snakes slither, we all ride the Union Ferry to the rock and back, and forth, with keel sharp enough to lop those summer-bitchin' vipers. Their tongues are tied to the war bone, to the murderous shock and oil bone, to the profit at any price bone. Their fangs are honed in the global apple, where their venom lies. Whoa! Come on, mates. This Union Ferry steaming up to split their army, so that putrescent serpent's nest that's got nothing left but unwilling guns falls powerless at last, and you'll get back what they ordered stolen, and we can all get to work on the construction of a big house to rock, to jail those White House slimy reptiles for the ages.
Stop the war abroad. In many ways, right here, Pier 3133, Terry MaCrae's Hornblower operation, this represents as much as anything else the war at home. When I look out across our nation and I look out across the world and see what we have done, what has been done, rather, in our name, in the name of America and in the name of Americans, I feel shame, I feel sadness. When I look out at what's been done in the name of democracy, in the name of freedom, in the name of uplifting economic status, and what I see is warfare, what I see is impoverishment, and what I see is oppression and greed and favoritism to rich, connected people like Terry MaCrae here. Can we stop the war in Iraq? I want to hear it louder. Hell yeah! Can we stop the war on working people and the attacks on the organized union force here at Hornblower? Yes or no? Hell yes!
The private work is the gay, lesbian, transgender, and bisexual organized labor through the AFL-CIO, and private work is the first labor organization to come out against the war.
This war that we've waged against Hornblower coincides with what our country has done to other countries, and it all must end. Give it up, it all must end. The type of business he's running is the type of government we have, and if it's not for people like us, there will be no change. Change comes from the people. In a pyramid system, the top people don't want change. They have everything they need. This guy has everything he needs. What he doesn't want is for the truth to get out. The truth is, he's become a millionaire off the backs of people like you and me. By paying substandard wages, by starving families, just like our country. It all must end. How? Never go away. Time will not heal this wound.
The Democrats and the Republicans, they talk about terrorism. They talk about fighting terrorism. But you know what they're doing? They're terrorizing workers in this country. They're terrorizing immigrant workers in this country. They are spending billions of dollars to have INS agents harass and terrorize millions of immigrant workers in this country.
The rich of this country, the rich who want to exploit our labor, the rich here at Hornblower that want to exploit the ferry workers. They tried to use racism to divide workers one from another. They tried to use racism to justify this war in Iraq. They try to tell us that where civilization was born, between the Tigris and Euphrates River, that those people cannot govern themselves. And we think that that is wrong. We think that's why we should bring the troops home now.
If it were for companies like this, you and I couldn't eat. We couldn't live in this city. We couldn't raise a family. We wouldn't have health care. You ask the members that are taking those boats out right now to an island that was unionized 30 years ago. And until September 25th, no non-union companies touched that island. How many people were put through college? How many families had health care and operations? How many kids had the support of having one parent stay home because their parent had a union job? Without the unions, there can be no peace. And we all know where this government is headed. This government is a union-busting government, and it mirrors this company.
Thank you so much for coming down and joining our picket line against a union-busting Republican donator, Terry MaCrae, the CEO of Alcatraz Cruises. We have a boycott and we want to shut the damn thing down. Now we know we can shut this down. I also know we could end this war in Iraq tomorrow if the organized labor movement wanted to. If the key sectors of industry in this country said, hell no, we are not going to work until those troops are home, that war would be over today. We wouldn't have to go begging to the politicians. We wouldn't have to be out on the streets. Working people have the power to end this war now, and we must try in every possible manner to convince all our brothers and sisters in the workplace, union and non-union, that we must use our power, because withholding our labor ultimately is the power that we do have.
They want us to think that we have no power. We do have power. We just need to get up off our asses and use it. This is our country. Let's take it back.